the Force with you, young Skywalker. You are not a Jedi yet.
What's up, guys? SpartaChris coming back with a Frost Mage damaging guide. We're going to talk about how to burst with that RMP setup, Rogue Mage Paladin. You can even play Warrior Mage. But we're going to talk about how, hey, when I get that sheep, get that CC, what can I do? What's effective? What kind of globals do I use? And what kind of order that's going to put that max damage? And keeping in mind, we want to go again later. So we want to make sure that we're not using them at bad times. We want to make sure we're using them together where they come back. And that's what's important to keep in mind when we're looking at things like your orb, when we're looking at Comet Storm and our Ice Novas, all in that 25-30 second cooldown range. So I'm going to base this guide completely around 12 seconds of CC, nothing fancy, no fear, no stun, no blind. It's 2 sheeps, your 8-second sheep and your 4-second sheep. I'm going to base it on 12 seconds of CC and 10 seconds of action. Obviously, we want to get that re-sheep in there. So 6 seconds and 4 seconds of burst. So first thing we're going to talk about, we're going to roll into just your simple burst. No Fingers of Frost, no flurry proc, just raw. This is what I can for sure do every 30 seconds. We're going to cast our Frostbolt, we're going to get our Pet Nova out there, we're going to Comet Storm, and we're going to do another Frostbolt, and we're going to shatter it with the Ice Nova, and that's it. All right, and at the end of that, we can throw that first Ice Lance out there, get a couple Icicles, and, you know, it's not much damage, but if you look here, Icicles, and the Ice Lance doing another 5k. Doesn't sound like much, but it could be enough with your other DPS to get a little extra pressure. So that's what we're going to talk about. So as we're coming up off cooldown, we're also going to just talk about my talents really quick. We're going to talk about Ice Nova. Obviously, we're running Ice Nova. Instead of Lonely Winter, we're running. I'm running Ebon Bolt personally. I like the fact that it procs Brain Freeze. I like the. I like that I can be shattered, so it can do good damage, and that's the first thing I want to throw out there on that good setup. I run Comet Storm, and you'll see if people may disagree. If you guys disagree with Comet Storm, you'll see why I play it. I love Comet Storm. I like the fact that it's back and strong. And personally, I play Ray of Frost. I don't play. This is not my main spec. I prefer to play Fire, as you guys know. But if I were to play Frost, and when I did play Frost in the off season, I did like the way Ray of Frost felt. I've never liked Glacial Spike. Playing Concentrated Coolness, and that's just so I can get my orb placement however I feel like it. So I'm not worried about if I get CC right in front of me, and then I gotta go through him to throw the orb out. You know, it's kind of nice to be able to throw that orb. Plus, it does a little extra damage, 30% extra damage. So here we go. First burst, we're gonna hit that play at the same time. So Poly goes out, boom, casting that Frostbolt. We put out that Pet Nova. We're gonna get that re here. With Ice Nova, 6 seconds, we're getting our repoly, we're casting another Frostbolt, and we get that Flurry proc into an Ice Lance, there's a couple of Icicles, and we're going to stop. We stopped somewhere around 13 seconds, right about the time that healer's coming out of that CC chain, and it's possible that your priest has a fear. You have a CS, you could have had a kidney shot out of that, blind, anything like that, or even a third sheep, but around that 13 seconds he's coming out, we're able to put out 80k. And even if you were to take out that Flurry proc, that's my mistake, that 12k damage, you're still looking at about 65k damage. So that's a big burst potential. And I want to talk about the consistency there. I'm going to run that one more time, and we're going to show the consistency there of how that's not just an RNG thing. So we're hitting Frostbolt and play at the same time. We'll get our instant out there. We'll get that next Frostbolt cast. Get the Frost Nova, step over here. Get that repoly. Frostbolt again. And throw out for them Icicles really quick. We'll hit play, pause right there at 12, right there. 69k damage. We had the Icicles are 100% there. And as you can see, Icicles hit for 6k for those couple of Frostbolts that we casted. That's 10% of your damage. If you had max Icicles, if you shattered more than just, maybe one of those Icicles crit, the other two didn't, it's still good damage. And and this is what I'm talking about. Look at this Comet Storm. Look at that, number 1 on the list, looking strong. 39% of my damage, doing 27k. I'm at 330 item level, not super high, but not bad. I'd say 110, 115k health is what you're going to be coming into this new season early on average. talking about 25% of their health taken out by a shattered Comet Storm. So, but you know, that's part of the reason why that's actually the main reason why I play Comet Storm. And again, I don't like playing Freezing Rain, which might be what people are used to, because they throw that orb out there with that strong blizzard amount. Is because if you're playing Rogue Mage, or even Pharaoh Mage, if they get the bash, they get the full maim, you know, their combo points done, full kidney, even for those triple cheap shots or kidney into DR cheap, it's only lasting 6, 7, 8 seconds. He's going to be moving after that. And I like the fact that Comet Storm does its damage and it's done. I'm not worried about, well, you know, I had to get the sheep, then I had to put my Pet Nova Comet Storm, then I throw the orb out there, and then I got the third, you know, by the time I get, you know, 3 or 4 globals in, that blizzard, he can immediately run out of that blizzard, and I'm losing, you know, 25-35% of that blizzard damage, so I'm not taking advantage of that full Freezing Rain and Talon where Comet Storm is there. Press it, it's done, it's good, it's strong. So moving on, so first cooldown we'll talk about is actually, we'll roll right into orb. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the fact that I do Pet Nova into Comet Storm instantly. So we hit play, and instead of casting Frostbolts, because we know that orb's going out there, we're going to hit that poly, and then we're going to go Pet Nova Comet Storm into our orb, and then we're casting Frostbolt. We're going to get a resheep right here, and then we're going to get another Frostbolt out, Frost Nova, get a proc out there, get another proc, and pause. Only put out 2 procs, 13 seconds. That's all you need. Yeah, we could get further CC. I have another Fingers of Frost still chilling there, but we're just talking about the 12 to 13 second range. 107k damage. Really good, really strong. And just to recap what we did there, the reason why I Pet Nova Comet Storm first instead of throwing the orb out there first is because I want to start those cooldowns. As soon as I get that sheep, as soon as that kidney goes out there, as soon as those DRs get started, I want to get my mini bursts out there that I want all the time. And we saw just how strong those are. You know, Ice Nova you can be a little more lenient with because it's 25 seconds, but Comet Storm is 30. I want to get those out. I want to get them those cooldowns started again. So that way, if we go 30 seconds later on that same target, or even a different target with fresh DRs, I at least know that I've got that 60k-ish damage reliably coming out with Ice Nova and Comet Storm and a Frostbolt cast. So that's what we can look at. 107k, that's more than my health pool. I know there's damage reduction and everything like that, but that's still a lot of damage. So we'll reset. Now. Next thing I'll talk about is Ebon Bolt. So this is a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is instead of Frostbolt, it's just Ebon. So we're going to hit play and Ebon Bolt together here. We're going to hit Pet Nova Comet Storm. We're going to go ahead and get that Flurry proc, the Ice Lance, get that Resheep, Frostbolt, and Ice Nova, and maybe even throw out that next Ice Lance pause because we're running low on global usage before he comes out of CC. So 12-13 seconds, 95k. Super strong. Comet Storm, Ebon Bolt right behind it. Now the other way to do that is to Ebon Bolt into Flurry. And what you could do is do my micro CC, and I'll give you that example in just a few seconds, but I'll talk about it. Is if you saw that I held on to my Flurry proc, and the reason why is because I Pet Nova'd, so I was not trying, because Ebon Bolt pauses right before it goes out, so I could have Flurry proc to make sure it shattered, but I Pet Nova'd anyway, so I Pet Nova Comet Storm, I know it's going to shatter. And clearly we can see that it shattered because I hit for 21k. So I held on to the Flurry proc to make sure that I could get my I'm not wasting globals, I can get my Resheep, and then I could use that Flurry into Ice Lance, you know, stuff like that. So, but what you could do if you wanted to get crazy is you can go Frostbolt, Pet Nova Comet Storm, recast, Frostbolt, Ice Nova, get my Resheep, go with Ebon Bolt. We're just assuming that Flurry proc isn't there, and then we here 12 at the 13 second we hit pause, and we just hit 85k. Similar damage. I just shattered it with my Flurry proc on that Resheep. Maybe Ebon Bolt wasn't quite off cooldown just yet, or you weren't in a position to be able to cast, or whatever the case. It could have been any reason why you'd want to Ebon Bolt afterwards. It's not bad because your Comet Storm and your Pet Nova are coming back off cooldown like we need them to. So that's what we want to talk about, and the damage difference isn't much different there, doing it either way. I'm just talking about if we're starting with those cooldowns. We want to make sure we get those Comet Storms started. That's my personal preference, is to get that Comet Storm and Nova started as soon as possible in that go and that clean setup, because I want those DRs to be back with my damage coming back. And last but not least is Ray of Frost. And Ray of Frost can be a little awkward because for some reason my damage done resets. It'll show that I did Ray of Frost damage, and then when I start hitting other damage, it'll reset my timer. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look in here. What we're going to do is we're going to cast one Frostbolt. So we're going to hit play. We're actually just going to do this. We're going to hit play. Pet Nova into Ray of Frost. 1, 2, 3, 4. Resheep here. Ice Lance, Ice Nova, 12 seconds, hit pause, and it actually picked it up this time. Alright, that's good. So my Ray of Frost hit for 42k, my Comet Storm hit for 27, total damage 92,000 damage. And the what I was going to show you is here, it picked it up all the damage. Usually it resets it, so that's good. 12 seconds we did that kind of damage. And we still had some other stuff available. If we had another Sun available, we would have been able to get out a couple of Frostbolts. Or you could have chained them together if you wanted to chain Ray of Frost with, say, Ebon Bolt. Ebon Bolt's on a very long cooldown, it's 45 seconds. You can orb your next go if you had it available, but you could Ebon that particular go with that Fear, Blind, or Kidney, and done even more damage by itself. Obviously, we saw how strong that was, you know, hitting for that 22k, so that's really big damage. We could have done 22 into another flurry guaranteed proc that gives another 30% of somebody's health if we really wanted to get crazy. So now some of you might be wondering, was like, well, I'm only doing 90k, why I have 100k health, why does that matter? And I was like, well, this is why, because if you're playing with another DPS, I'm talking about purely a 3v3 scenario, you get your sheep off of Kidney, off of Fear, or you just get your free sheep anyway, however you want to do it. Your other DPS is doing damage. He kidneys, he cheap shots that target that, you know, very common as sub RMP. So we put out that we're putting out our damage 92k, but he's got 10-12 seconds that he's putting out damage too, and I guarantee you it's going to be somewhere in that range too, and that's what's going to make things die. You know, even if they've got, you know, good armor, you know, your partner needs to put out what, half this damage to be 120% of somebody's health. And that's going to pull your cooldowns. So that's what's key. I'm not here to talk about when to veins or anything crazy like that. The only thing I will talk about is what it's possible to do when you have a lot of procs. So the last thing I'll talk about is, we won't even start the timer yet. We're going to say, hey, this is in between go time. We're running around, running over here. You know, we frosted over some stuff. We're hitting some frost bolts. We got some icicles stacked together. I got a couple more here. Put my barrier up. Getting the pets over here. You know, we're now 15 seconds. DRs are coming up. Alright, nice. I'm going to go sheep here. I got full icicles and a flurry proc. This is great. So now I'm going to reset and talk about possible damage potential. So we're just going to do our regular burst without doing any cooldowns. Frostbolt here, just like normal. Pet Nova, Ice Nova here. Resheep. Get my Frostbolt out. Get my Frostbolt out. Into the Ice Lance. And 13 seconds, boom. 111k, and that was just with a flurry proc and full icicles. And even if you took that flurry proc out there, I was talking about earlier, look at these icicles, 9 icicles, 20k damage. So if you had 4 or 5 icicles with you, you could be doing 15 to 20k damage just with that Ice Lance you put out there, which is why you saw me go ahead and use that. And then the Ice Nova as well by itself, 20k damage. So we're looking at really strong 30k with that Comet Storm, looking so sexy. And that's what's key too, is if you know for a fact you have flurry or a couple of fingers of frost procs, I mean, yeah, you may have cooldowns available, you might want to drop an orb, it's possible, but what I would suggest is if you get your go, use all your procs with that stuff, because it's clearly going to do a lot of damage. It's going to do the same damage as if you did with other cooldowns. And yeah, if you want to get crazy, I'll give you one last scenario. We could do just a little bit of craziness. What is possible to stack these cooldowns? So no procs at all, 100% guaranteed, you know, no RNG here. We'll hit play, we'll put a Frostbolt out there, Frost Nova Comet Storm, throw out an orb, Ice Bolt, we'll get a resheep right here, and then we'll do Ice Lance, into Ray of Frost maybe, into Kidney Shot, or Fear, boom, and at 18 seconds, 12 seconds of Poly, 5 to 6 seconds of Fear, right at 17 seconds, 185k. That's if you were to stack an orb and a Ray of Frost, and you still have Ebon available. So like if you pull big cooldowns, or you're like, hey, We got Trinket from this guy. I have a smoke bomb. I really want to kill him. You know, if you're like, oh, well, all right, well, next go. You're going to be like, Ebb and Bolt, blink into the smoke bomb. Boom, 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 boom. And then you're going to be like, damn, some more fucking cooldowns right there. And give him some strong. And you're still going to be able to hit that good damage. 70k right there. Really fast, really quick. So that's what it's like to stack cooldowns. You never really have time to stack all three. But you can stack 2 of them. Orb, Ebb and Bolt. You know, Ebb and Bolt, or, you know, drop an orb, do your regular burst, and then Ebb and Bolt the second poly, something like that. And this should work for most of you guys if you're trying to roll your burst based on yourself and not somebody else setting up for you. So that's part of the reason why I made the guide like that is, yes, we have kidneys and fears and blinds, but just based on you being able to cast that resheep, you know, and I gave you that 2 seconds too, so that's that 1.5 seconds. You have 2 seconds to get that sheep. Or even fear, maybe if you get stopped on that second sheep because somebody trinkets yes or something like that, then a priest could be there to fear. That's very common. That's very appropriate gameplay, is to have somebody cover that at least continued CC chain. So, and last thing, actually I'll just talk about one more thing. That's capability. If you get a sheep randomly, but you know there's a lot of stops available and you're like, crap, I can't really pull this off. What I'm going to do is just talk about instants without talking about anything else. So I'm going to hit play. I'm going to drop an orb. I'm just going to do all instants here in 8 seconds. So, boom, hitting some ice lance, and at 8 seconds when your poly's over with, I just threw an orb, instant cast, threw Pet Nova, Comet Storm, Ice Nova, all that stuff. I didn't laugh anything else. Did 100k. Frozen Orb did a lot of damage there. So, that's also capable. If you're like, hey, I got this good sheep, what can I do to make this available without getting stopped? You can throw an orb, or just Pet Nova, Comet Storm, and Ice Nova, and then throw a couple Ice Lances out there to let that proc. You could do, you know, Pet Nova, Comet Storm, Ice Lance, so it's shattered, into Ice Nova again, into another Ice Lance, and hey, it's 60k. Doesn't look like much, but it is a go. You know, you can do good damage with that, with your partner getting a stun and, you know, doing obviously his 8 seconds worth of damage. And you can pull soft cooldowns that way if you get lucky, or you're playing something like LSD with a lot of stops. If you guys have any questions, any more further clarification, again, this is just a damage guide. This is based off you guys understanding how icicles work and how shattering works, and how you can use your Frost Nova in the same way you use Pet Nova and everything like that. If you need me to clarify anything, I will more than happy be able to clarify that in comments or follow on video, or you can just ask me questions in game. I always put up how you guys can get a hold of me in game or on my other different platforms. And I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope this helps some of you guys clarify some stuff out, because I do see a lot of Frost Mages out there when I queue into them. They seem like they're not doing a lot of damage, and I see it's because of the way they're using their abilities is not very strong. They're not chaining that kind of stuff correctly to get the right damage out at the right times. Again, thanks guys, and take it easy, and GG's.